media. As consumers, we are bombarded by it at every turn, like the Incredible Hulk being bombarded by gamma rays. But what makes some media endure, while others are banished to the forgotten black hole of obscurity, never to be heard from again? Who or what decides this? Hetero life mates Steve and Yahel want to know, and they want to know now. This is Obscurity Now.
And what's up, Obscurians? It's time for another episode of Obscurity Now, the show that takes a look at weird and almost forgotten pieces of media. Then we decide if they should be remembered for all of human history or tossed in the black void of obscurity, never to be heard from again. My name is Steve, and with me, his Madball name is Wrestling with Laming. It's...
I quit.
Oh, come on. That is on par with the very low level of comedy that
I agree. It's my name is Yahel.
No, Wrestling with Laming, everybody. Wrestling with Laming.
Anyway, how are you doing, Steven?
You can call me Obscurity Cow or something lame like
Obscurity
that.
Cow?
Yes. I don't know. You can come up with something better, I'm sure.
Maybe like Ballscurity.
That's better. That's better. Much better. But no, I'm doing well. I don't know if you were on the socials at all today, but I think I forgot to bring it up in the last couple of episodes, but I'm hosting / moderating my first panel at Comic-Con Revolution this month, talking about my fiction podcast, Ray Can't Sleep, and how you can make one yourself. Did I tell you about any of that before?
No, but I saw the post. I saw Rob's post first.
Oh, yes. Well, he had to, he wanted to let everybody know that he's involved. It's weird. I'm so used to tagging you whenever I post social media stuff. I'm like, wait a minute, he's not involved in this.
Should have just tagged me anyway.
Yeah,
Confuse me.
You probably have more of a following than any of the other people involved on the panel. But
yeah, true.
Yeah.
Maybe I should go host it.
Well, hey, you're welcome to come.
I know.
I'm trying to
nothing about an audio an audio drama podcast.
I didn't even get you in as a voice, which was a dumb move on my part. I probably should have done that. But
I forgive you.
You really missed out on the rocket ride that was Ray Can't Sleep.
Well, my rate's gone up now that I'm in a video game. So now that I'm a video game voiceover artiste.
Oh, wait, I'm not going to have to pay you for this episode, am I?
The bill is on the way.
Oh, shit.
I balled it up so that it would appeal to you, so that you would think it's a Madballs toy. Then when you open it, a bill.
Thank you for bringing it back to the Madballs. Let's just
ball bill.
Yeah. Ball bill?
I don't know.
It works.
That's a real lazy one. It's literally just
ball bill. Yeah.
It's just what it is.
So, what do you remember about Madballs? Did you have any? Help me out here.
I still got my Madballs, Steve. Just because I got a vasectomy doesn't mean that they've gone sane.
They just don't work anymore.
No, anyway. So the balls work, Steve. It's the vas deferens.
Not this shit again. I really want to talk about Madballs and not your balls.
Yeah, I never had the toys. I had friends that had the toys. I thought I had never seen this, but once I started up, I was like, oh, I have seen this.
Oh, wow.
And like, all my memories of it came back. Yeah, a friend of mine had it on VHS, and I'm pretty sure he had like the real VHS. I don't think it was like a copy.
Nice.
But yeah, I remember watching this a few times.
Yes. So all
time came back to me.
You were a Madball fanboy and you just didn't know it. Oh, man.
I wouldn't go that far, Steve. I wouldn't throw the ball that far.
You were president of the Madballs fan club, so much so that you wanted to knock that Madball out of the park.
I will say there's some interesting, we'll get to when we go over the cast, but there's some booked, employed, prolific cast members here.
Oh, sure. Yeah, the people behind the camera also had quite the career. Before we get into it, I've got a couple of Madballs right here. Let's see, which one is this? Screamin' Mimi. He's featured prominently in this episode, as well as Hornhead. And
Is Screamin' Mimi the one with the eye that's drooping out?
no, that is Slobulus.
Slobulus. That's so why don't they do something about that eye? It's just like dangling.
And then finally, these are like re-releases from like, I don't know, 10, 12 years ago. But yeah, as for my history, I don't think I had a single Madball up until like, well, obviously until up until like 10 years ago. I remember I had ugly balls, and I was like,
you know, puberty is different for everyone. You know,
zing! Oh man, am I on Conan O'Brien in the 90s?
Yeah, let me bring out the masturbating ball.
Oh, nicely done. But no, I remember I got it from the little turnstile candy dispenser thing, and but I always heard people talk about Mad Balls, but never ugly balls, and I don't know. I guess they were just like the smaller sort of Kmart version or something. But yeah, never saw this VHS that we're about to watch, and never had a Mad Ball, only mad and angry thoughts. So are you ready to dive a little bit? Are you ready to dive balls deep into Mad Balls?
Mm-hmm. Let's do it.
I can see.
Welcome to your feature presentation.
Alrighty, so here's a brief sort of history of the toy line, because it definitely started out as a toy line first, and this is straight from Wikipedia. Madballs is a series of toy foam balls originally created by AM Toy, a subsidiary company of American Greetings, now Cloudco Entertainment, in the mid-1980s, later being revived by Art Asylum between 2007 and 2008, and Just Play Incorporated from 2017 to 2019. The balls incorporated gross-out humor, and each was given a character synopsis and an odd name, like Yahel. The toy line expanded into a franchise with comic books, direct-to-video cartoons, and a video game for the Z or ZX Spectrum.
Oh, don't say ZX, buddy. The Europeans will come for you.
That's why I said both. The Amstrad CPC and the Commodore 64. You ever play any Madballs games? Video games.
No, I have not. But yes, it sounds like they hit up a lot of the European 8-bit microcomputers.
Well, I guess Madballs was just huge over there in Europe, where it only seems like it was a passing fad here.
Yeah, well, they probably hadn't seen balls that mad since the Revolutionary War.
I thought you were going to go in a much worse direction than that.
No, Steve. They haven't seen balls like that since 1776.
All right. I think I sort of get that one, but yeah. All right. So this particular VHS, it is Madballs, Escape from the Orb. There's only 2 episodes of Madballs. There's this one and the follow-up, Gross Jokes. This one premiered November of 1986. I couldn't get an exact date. And here's the synopsis. Based on the popular toys, a musical band made up of Madballs try to escape an oppressive planet. They plan to come to Earth and play rock and roll. So I guess in the Madballs, extended universe, rock and roll is not just an Earth thing. It goes through the entire galaxy and galaxies.
Right.
Yeah. All right. I'm just making sure we're on the same page here. So this is directed by Laura Shepard. She did 26 episodes of Tales from the Crypt Keeper. So I would say definitely a step up after this show.
Yeah, certainly.
27 episodes of Care Bears. I wonder if she worked on those Star Trek episodes of Care Bears. And then she actually started her career with Strawberry Shortcake. Basically, she went from Strawberry Shortcake to this, and then later on, The Crypt Keeper. Now we have not one, but 2 writers, because that's what it took to bring Madballs to life, Yahel. 2 writers. The first one being Heather McGilvery. She also worked on the sequel, Madballs Gross Jokes, The Care Bears, and Earth 2. Do you remember Earth 2?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, we should cover that one day. By the way, that actually reminds me. Have you ever heard of a show called Odyssey 5? It was on Showtime.
No.
It stars Peter Weller.
Oh.
And I think it was in 2002. And it's like a space show or whatever. I didn't want to read too much about it, but I just found out about it last night. It's got like a pretty decent cast. I was like shocked.
I mean,
anyways, that might be fun to cover. Like all the episodes appear to be up on YouTube and high quality.
Yeah, I'll watch anything with Peter Weller. And yeah, and speaking of YouTube, this is available to watch on YouTube, though the better copy I feel like is on archive.org. And I mean, that's what I watched. Is that what you watched?
Yeah. Yeah, I just watched what you sent me, Steve. If it's not from you, Steve, I ignore it.
As well, you should. I mean, you shouldn't be watching videos sent from, E. Steen or D. Dot Schneider at Thailand.com.
Did you see that your boy Roddy Piper's in the news?
What? What did his like corpse come back to life and put someone in a sleeper?
According to Hulk Hogan, in a way.
Oh boy.
Like, so I don't know if you know, but Hulk Hogan is like a super duper born again Christian now.
No, I didn't. I know he's been out lying about a lot of stuff. But...
Well, he's still he figured, hey, I like to lie. These people like to lie. So yeah. Anyways, he was on the 700 Club this week.
Oh, that show still exists.
I know. I know.
It's been going for 700 years.
Every week. God is coming back soon, but we need your money.
Right. Well.
But anyway, yeah, dude, you had the same reaction I did. I'm like, what? Actually, first disgust, like, the 700 Club. Right. And then, wait, it's still on? Isn't Pat Robertson dead? Anyway, so he was interviewed on there, and he said that, I don't know how they got on Roddy Piper because I only saw like the 2-minute clip. But basically, Hogan is talking about how he and Piper, they weren't close, they didn't really like each other for a long time, and then as they got older they started talking, and he would ask about God, but he would never submit, brother. His words, not mine. But then he says that after Piper died, Hulk Hogan got a text. He got a voice message via text. You can record like a voice message and send it. He said he got one from Piper. That said, I'm doing good. And he got this text message right after the A&E Roddy Piper documentary aired, and right after Hulk finished watching it. So I guess Piper was watching Hulk watching the documentary, and then as soon as he was done, Piper hit send on his Heaven phone, and he said that the message said, "Don't worry, brother, I'm walking with Jesus now."
Oh my! What the fuck? Oh my God!
And Christians are like Christian wrestling guys are lapping it up, of course.
Yeah, I mean, I think I vaguely remember Roddy Piper saying that he was a Christian. Like, whatever, I don't care. But
according to Hulk, he was not religious.
But I like later on, like maybe I think I
mean, he seems like he'd be one of those like, oh yeah, I believe in God, like in passing, kind of.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying he's going to a church every Sunday or whatever, but. I mean, all I know is he had a lot of kids. But yeah, I don't know. But anyway, he never mentioned anything about sending texts from the afterlife, though. But I mean, how could you know, I guess, unless you get there.
Hey, maybe you're right, because his last movie was a faith-based film. Him being Roddy Piper. About, I guess we should cover this. Roddy Piper's final movie is a faith-based film about a crime-fighting pastor. Oh
yeah, I thought his last movie was it's called The Chair, and it's actually based off of an indie comic. The movie's terrible though.
Yeah, I mean, this is according to this article. Who knows? It's a Deadline article.
Sure.
But the company that put it out is the same company that put out the God's Not Dead movie, starring one Kevin Sorbo.
Oh wow! I mean, I'm ready to go down that rabbit hole whenever you are.
We should have God Month.
Man, don't tempt me. We might. Then we can finally watch the amazing Bible stories that we briefly talked about before. All right. We'll talk about it.
All right. I'll send you a text after I die.
God, what is wrong with Hulk Hogan? Jeez. All right. So yeah, that pretty much does it for me, except for these two cartoons were bankrolled by Nelvana. They were a big deal in the 80s and 90s with a bunch of cartoons. But anyway, who are some of the voice auteurs who brought Madballs to life?
Up first, we've got Jeffrey Bowes. He plays Screamin' Meanie.
Is he responsible for all those airplanes falling to pieces?
Maybe. I mean, he was in DC 9/11 Time of Crisis, made for TV movies, so it is possible.
There you go.
That he was hired for his expertise, if you will.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's Boeing, not Bose. All right, I got you.
Yeah. But anyways, he's been in a bunch of stuff, mostly live action, a lot of made-for-TV movies that you've never heard of. He is also in the Gross Jokes follow-up.
Oh, good for him.
Yeah, then we've got Jerry Creighton, who plays the voice of Dusty. Mostly, well, actually, I thought that they had done mostly voiceover work, but I'm seeing here that they actually do have a decent chunk of live action stuff. They didn't work a lot.
I see they wrote an episode of Thundercats. That's interesting.
Yeah, that is weird. And Silverhawks.
Yeah, but mostly, I see mostly an actress.
Yeah, 3 Silverhawks. Yeah, but mostly an actor.
Yeah.
But yeah, they were on Inspector Gadget, 64 episodes, and I bring that up because Cree Summer, who plays Freakella, I bet she's a freak.
That sounds like your type of lady.
Anyways, she was also in Inspector Gadget. She was the voice of Penny.
Oh, how about that?
Yeah, she's been in a ton of stuff, man. Like, I mean, Tiny Toon Adventures, the Patrick Show, Patrick Star Show, SpongeBob, just like a lot of stuff. And her voice sounded really familiar to me. This is not a Star Trek reference. I don't think I'm setting it up. There are none this time. But so I was looking through her very long IMDb, 375 credits. And she was on A Different World. I don't know if you remember that show.
Sure.
But I was a huge fan. I loved A Different World. And she was Freddie Brooks for 122 episodes of A Different World.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, but she's been in like so much stuff. It's obscene.
Yeah, American Dad, SpongeBob, man, still working too. That's good for her. Still working.
And I wonder when she was born, because like I saw a pretty recent picture of her in her IMDb photos, and it's like A Different World reunion picture, and everybody looks older, as they should. It's been however many years, but she still looks like she could pass for like her late 20s or early 30s. It's crazy.
Wow, she was on a ElfQuest audio drama. Do you know ElfQuest?
I've heard of it. Yeah.
We might have to talk about that. All right. Anyway.
Yeah, she's been in Animaniacs, Gargoyles, 13 episodes, Steve, of The Savage Dragon.
Who was she the voice of in that? She Dragon, probably?
I already, let me see. She was, it doesn't say, it just says voice.
Okay, all right, no big deal.
Sorry. It's probably one of those where like the credit for everybody says voice. Doesn't say who anybody did. Yeah. Anyways, but let's move right along. We've got Allison Court, who was the main character on The Big Comfy Couch. You ever watched that terrible show?
I just saw commercials for it. I never watched the full episode or anything.
That thing is awful. Anyway, she's got 108 credits to her name, still working. A lot of
Resident Evil.
Yeah, a lot of voiceover stuff, but yeah, a lot of live action stuff. And she was the original Jubilee in the 92.
Before they removed her because she wasn't Asian. Yeah.
Well, she was on the whole Jubilee run, it looks like.
No, yeah, of the original X-Men, but then when they brought it back for 97, they made a big deal to mention that they gave her like a different character. Well,
she plays older Jubilee in the video game episode.
Oh, man, that was did you watch that episode?
I've watched them all. I love it.
Oh, yeah, no, it's good. I did not really care for that video game episode, but...
I liked it because it had like a lot of references to like the X-Men video games, especially like the arcade beat 'em ups. But I could see how like if you're not into those, that it might have felt like a little bit of filler. But I liked it.
But I will tell you, after they killed off my boy, I haven't watched a single episode since.
What?
Yeah.
Really, dude, you need to like, man, the episode this week was, maybe not quite as good as that one, but just a hair under it.
I mean, it was a good episode, but I can't watch an X-Men like show
without that person
where he's dead.
I don't want to spoil it for anyone.
Where he's dead, but Morph is alive. I mean,
Morph was alive in 97.
Yeah, but
in 92.
They just brought him back for one episode or something. But I mean, like, it doesn't matter that.
No, because they had like Sinister had him under his control and like had been like fake and like had faked his death. Like he came back from what I remember, for like a whole season. But I could be wrong.
I just thought it was like a couple episodes, but I could be wrong as well. But all right, look, I don't care if Morph is alive.
Morph being alive is but Steve, okay, I guess you're not familiar with the comic book storylines they're doing. Just go back and just catch up. Get caught up.
All right, back to Madballs.
You'll be happy in the end. Just get caught up.
We'll see.
No, who stays dead in comics?
But this is a show, not a comic book. But anyway,
Steve, they're gonna bring him back.
I'm gonna get around to watching it eventually. Back. Let's bounce back into Madballs, everyone.
Anyways, so yeah, she's done a bunch of stuff. Then Don Franks plays Wolf Breath. Don Franks has like 192 credits to his name. The last thing he did was in 2016 because he's dead.
Yeah, if your IMDb is in black and white, chances are you're probably dead or a hipster. Oh, he was in heavy metal. Good for him.
Yeah, but yeah, he's been in a lot of stuff, including some video games like Marvel vs. Capcom. He was in Freaky Stories, which I assume is a porn.
Freaky Stories, Sexual Invader. Yeah.
Right. He was in Johnny Mnemonic. I mean, come on.
We need to watch. I've got like a Japanese like fan cut of Johnny Mnemonic. We're gonna watch it someday.
Okay. I mean, there's a couple other people. Dan Hennessy plays Slobulus. Just did a bunch of voice work, mostly on something called Little Bear. Sure. He was also in the original X-Men animated series, but just like random characters. He was in 21 episodes of that, though. And Keith Hampshire played Hornhead. Again, a bunch of animated stuff, Care Bears, something called The Raccoons, which I don't recall.
You don't know The Raccoons? Oh, man, it's awesome.
You know what's funny, Steve? When you get excited about an 80s cartoon that I've never heard of, I already feel like I'm going to hate it. Because a lot of times these are just like, oh, I saw the commercial. I was like, no, this is going to be bad. Or I saw a little bit. I was like, no, this is not for me. This is for the dumb kids, not for me.
Hey, the Raccoons is very intelligently written. You'll see, and it's got an awesome theme song.
Well, you've said that to me before too. You've hurt me too many times. You're like TNA wrestling. I've been hurt once too many times. I can't go back. No matter how good people tell me it is now.
Yeah, you keep showing up. Do they still say it's good? Because I tried watching when they did their little reset, and I don't know, didn't really grab me. Well,
the funny thing is, like they being like the parent company that owns it, Anthem, they got rid of Scott D'Amore, who was the guy who had kind of like brought it back to prominence, got it in their biggest buy rate, and since then, I guess the storylines have been lacking. So it was like literally right after they did their whole big, we're back to TNA, they got rid of him.
Right.
So real dumb.
Yeah.
You okay? You got a Madball in your throat?
Oh, here he is.
But anyways, that was way longer than I meant to spend on the cast. The other work was definitely a lot more interesting than work on Madballs, which only had 2 episodes. So, but yeah, that's the cast pretty much.
All right. So we'll just jump right into the walkthrough. I think we were subconsciously just not wanting to get through the walkthrough. But here we go. So the High Tops video logo and jingle is shown.
And the symbol of excellence.
Yeah. I don't know. I kind of thought that was fun, at least.
That was the best part of the video.
It might be. It might be. The opening theme plays, and it's a reworking of what classic rock and roll song.
Great Balls of Fire
by Jerry Lee Lewis. Which
you know, when you're doing a kids cartoon, you definitely want to get a guy who married like a 13-year-old.
I mean, he would know what kids would want the most. But hey,
send your hate mail to and warrant to Steven.
Oh, please, just comment on the episode. That's all I ask. But no. I mean, obviously, Jerry Lee Lewis was long gone by the time Madballs was a thing. So we had nothing to do with this. They just paid for the rights, and then they reworked the lyrics a little bit. Hey, at least it's a good song, though, right?
Yeah. I mean, the song's fine for what it is, but I don't know, man. Like, I was not crazy about them using like some old ass song as their theme song.
I agree completely. You know, I want synths and guitar solos, and this did not really deliver on that. There's a lot of piano, as you might imagine. But yeah, and I feel like this would pair well with the Street Sharks theme. Just like, I don't know, old throwbacky for no reason, basically.
Yeah, and I will say that Cree Summer, the woman that does the voice of Freakella, it also does all the singing.
Yeah, she was good,
she's got a great voice.
Indeed. So yeah, anyway, Great Balls of Fire, sung by Cree Summer, plays, and oh god, and it makes it look like the Madballs. I've just coming from someone who's never seen this before. You know, I'm not a Madballs expert like yourself. I made it look like the Madballs are from another planet and that they're in some rock and roll band, which, after you watch the episode, that's exactly what it is. And basically, they're just bouncing around and performing, and, you know, the opening is over pretty quickly. And we get the title card, and the name of this episode being Escape From Orb. Any more comments about the opening there?
It did not get me excited for the show. And I was like, after the theme song, I was like, well, hopefully it's not like all about music. That's literally what I was thinking.
But it's about rock and roll, Yahel.
It's all about music.
See, if you look at this from a different angle, say like an animated all-ball version of California Dreams, it works. It works.
Okay, an all-ball version of California Dreams.
Just think about it for a minute while I continue moving on. All right, so sure enough, we open on some planets and space. I mean, surely that must have gotten you excited.
I knew
we
you
know
were gonna say
how
that.
you love space. I mean, you just want to space, like right in the black hole.
No, but I knew you were going to say that, Steve. See, I think you don't understand what Star Trek's really about, Steve.
No one said anything about Star Trek.
It's not about the exploration out there. It's about the exploration in here.
Oh, wait. Oh, he points to his brain. I point to my heart. So we'll meet somewhere in the middle.
Excuse me for pointing at what, the throat?
Oh, right. Yeah, this.
By the way, did you know that? I know we keep getting way off topic, but did you know that there was like a show or a mini series called like I guess this must have been like after the first Roots, but it was like a follow up called Roots.
A new generation?
The next generations.
Yeah, I did hear that. Yeah,
that's so weird.
I also like, and then there was a lesser known sequel series like Roots 2 Electric Boogaloo. Yeah.
No, shut up.
Got him, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Yeah. Speaking of Roots,
but I see now that it came out in '79. I was thinking this was like after TNG had started, and they were trying to since LeVar Burton and Geordi was in Star Trek: The Next Generation and in Roots, in the original Roots, I thought maybe they were trying to capitalize on his popularity.
So, in other sort of hot button news, did you hear that Comedy Central greenlit a Golden Axe animated series made from the people who made what's it called, Upper Decks or Lower Decks? That's what it's called,
Oh,
right?
I didn't know that they were involved, but I did see like it was like a comedy series for Golden Axe. And I was like,
Off to a bad start. Off to a bad start. And yeah, but speaking of roots, all the Madballs are enslaved on this planet by Commander. I had a hard time. It's Wolf. What is it? Commander
I don't remember. Wolf Breath?
Wolf Breath. Yeah, I kept putting like I wrote down.
And he keeps using Banaka.
Yeah.
Like Banaka throat spray or whatever.
So that's why he was doing that. I thought it was like Wolf Face or Wolf Red, something like that. I just had a hard time understanding it. But
I mean, I think his name was Wolf Breath. I don't know.
That makes sense. So
I could literally check right now.
Yeah. So anyway, the we open on the Madballs planet. Narrator tells us that Commander Wolf Breath has enslaved all, I guess, the good Madballs and they're all working on this massive like stone statue of him. Think like ancient Egypt, like pyramids, more or less. I'm definitely getting early Stargate vibes. I'm sure you were getting those too, Yahel, right?
Yeah, sorry. All I could think about, Steve, was that the only good ball is a dead. The only good Madball is a dead ball.
Ballist. It's like a racist against balls. Yeah.
Yes.
All right. But
I'm a cube man myself.
Yeah, I'm a tetrahedron kind of guy.
Wow.
So yeah, I knew that would get you all riled up. So the narrator tells us, that it was once a happy planet, but Commander Wolf Breath took it over. Yeah, they're building this massive statue. And he also has outlawed, like, basically freedom of expression, including music. But luckily, in this world of Madballs, there's one band left, and they're called the Madballs. That, Yahel, I was hoping you and I could start a new band. You want to know what I want to call it?
What?
The Humans.
Ah, good. Very clever.
It's like, why is there a band called the Madballs if everyone there is a Madball?
I don't know. It's very lame, but, it's one of many lame things in this video.
Indeed. All right, so moving on. So they're all working on this giant statue, and then we are introduced to Screaming Mimi and Freak Ella. Screaming Mimi is the baseball-looking Madball. I guess a Screaming Mimi is a name of like a pitch or something. Come on, you love baseball. Help me out here.
Yeah, that's what it is.
And
I know when I'm umpiring, I'm like, give me that Screaming Mimi. Or give the batter Scream Mimi.
Well played. And then, like, he's carrying this massive brick, and then helping him is Freak Ella. She is obviously called that because of her sexual promiscuity. I mean, you have to read between the lines, but it's there. It's there.
Yeah, that's why she loves hanging around all these balls.
I mean, the writers of Madballs are well known for their subtexts, and they're all cowards also. So she drops the brick because it's ruining her, like, manicure or something, and it falls on Screaming Mimi's foot, and he yells. And then they exchange some more uninteresting dialogue. And this one of the bad Madballs, like a guard, basically, his name is Bruise Brother. He basically yells at them and tells them to get back to work. And then he calls Freak Ella a mop head. And Freak Ella gets very angry, but then
racist.
Yeah, then she moves on. Yeah, like. But hey, this is very important. All right, listeners, viewers, make sure you remember this scene here because it's going to come back at the end of the episode. All right? Okay. So now we cut to a bunch of other Madballs hanging out. Skullface, pretty much says what he is. Dusty, who's this mummy-looking thing here. Hornhead and Oculus, his name Orbis, are working on a different area of the statue. And then Freak Ella and Mimi basically join them. The shift whistle blows, and Freak Ella's like, "Hey, are we playing tonight?" And Mimi says, "Yes, we play at 8 at the Hole in the Wall Club, also known as the Brass Mug." Oh!
That's a real inside reference.
Deep cut, yes. If you're from Tampa, you know, or at least it used to be that way.
Yeah, it's a pretty big venue now.
That's what I hear. So Skullface says, "Oh no, that's past curfew." But I don't know. They sort of just move on, and they're like, no problem. And then we see Commander Wolf Breath tell Bruise Brother to follow Freakella and her crew because it may lead them to the others. That way he can crush all of the music in Orb World or Orb or whatever when it's called. Right. Does this plan make sense, Yahel?
No, Steve, it does not. Nothing really makes sense. We never find out like why he doesn't, why he wants to get rid of music. And this is like the whole like I want to get rid of music is such a weird like trope in children's entertainment. Like not that long ago, we watched the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles like stage special, and what was Shredder's whole thing?
Oh yeah,
get rid of music.
Yeah,
and I don't understand why adults thought that like kids would care all that much. Mm-hmm. Like I don't know, it's just like a weird thing in my opinion.
It's a very basic reason to have a villain have motivation, and it's also very safe. Like, I guess he can't be like, oh, I just want to annihilate all the people who oppose me.
Well, Steve, I would say you're not wrong that it is very safe, but I don't think that that's the reason why. Because I mean, basically, the Madballs are slaves.
Right. That's
there's a fascist dystopian government running things that has instituted a curfew. We find out, so it's kind of dark anyway. So
true. Well, I mean, it's their last bastion of freedom of expression, I guess. But the thing here is, the whole band is like right there. Why even let them like get away? Like, why do you even need to follow them? Why not just chain them up right then and there?
That's a good question. I guess the answer is because then we don't have an episode. But yeah, I agree. Too many, like they could have had like a throwaway line explaining, why they haven't just rounded them up,
Right.
Maybe it's because, they want to like also arrest all the fans, for example.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. That they could have elaborated a little bit on that, but I have a feeling the age bracket is pretty low on here. Like I wanted to give this the 4-year-old kid test, but I never got around to letting him watch it. He does enjoy the Madballs comic book though, but that has a way more extended lore than this.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I feel like this is pretty like because I remember my buddy that had it, he liked it, and he was kind of like, I don't know, I even then I felt he was like dumb.
How old were you guys at the time?
I want to say 7, and he would have been 7 or 8 because he's like a little bit older than me.
Yeah, I feel like that is the target demographic of Madballs.
See, but I thought it was stupid.
Yeah, I mean,
I distinctly remember thinking it was dumb. But I thought like a lot of kids' cartoons were dumb when I was a kid, so I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm the problem.
Well, you just didn't have a childhood. That's your fault. You like came out of the womb fucking.
This is what happens when you like learn how to do multiplication in first grade. You just like everything else, you're just like, this isn't math. This isn't cool.
Right. Well, I was already a bass virtuoso by then. So
see, there you go.
No, that's not true. But anyway, all right. So we cut to Mimi and Oculus Orbis, like basically sneaking around the Orb town, like I guess after curfew. They dodge a guard who's following them. Then we also see Freakella. She also sneaks around out of her house, and she's pursued by Bruise Brother. And this was an interesting scene. So like Bruise Brother like kind of like corners her, and then once again calls her a mop head. And they cut away to like the outside of like whatever building they're in. But Freakella basically beats up Bruise Brother.
Right.
Bruises him up bad. So basically, I guess the trigger word here is mop head, and then Freakella basically turns into the Hulk, more or less. Is that what we're doing here?
Yeah.
All right, sure. Yeah, let's go with it. All right, so then we cut to, and this is like out of nowhere. These characters haven't even been introduced yet. We cut to Slobulus. who, as Yahel said, is the one who's missing an eye, and he's green. And then a blue guy named Arg. He's also missing an eye, I think. I don't know, something along those lines. And they're digging around in the trash, and they're supposed to have, like, I guess, funny, somewhat comical dialogue here, and basically
they're supposed to.
Yeah, and like one of them sounds like a stoner, like big time. And basically one of them's like, "Oh, why are we digging in the trash anyway?" And the other one's like, "'Cause we're looking for a micro-ion compressor for the ship we've been working on for the past month," or something like that. And what exactly does a micro-ion compressor do in a ship, Mr. Starfleet? That's you.
I don't know. This isn't a Federation ship, so I don't know, Steve.
Come on, I know you have those books that are like.
I do have a couple Star Trek technical manuals.
I knew it. I knew it.
I do.
I just wanted to see if somehow, the world's if Star Trek was in the same world as Madballs, but I guess not.
No, but I did. But they do make a Star Trek reference once they get out into space.
Oh, I can't wait. Did you in the Obscuritron? I put it's a back when Marvel was doing Star Comics in the 80s. There's a crossover between the Care Bears and the Madballs. Think about that. Think about how mind-blowing that would be. Care Bears will be like, "Oh my gosh, you Madballs, you're so gross," and so on. All right. So where were we? Okay. So basically, they find the part they're looking for, and they bounce on. And now Creepella continues bouncing through the sewer, and then she's led into the Hole in the Wall Club, which, I mean, is basically your typical sort of small music venue / bar. And then once again, we cut back to Slobulus and Arg, and now they are in their spaceship, basically getting it ready. And did they ever even say why Slobulus and Arg have a spaceship?
No, they don't, and you would think that would stick out like a sore thumb, but yeah, no, they never explain. I guess it's implied that they were just like building it
just because they're so stupid.
Maybe it was just to like escape.
Just because they had nothing better to do, but they don't even know how to fly their own ship.
Well, they definitely built it actually, because one of them says to the other, "Oh, you were supposed to remember where I installed the button to start the engines or whatever."
Right.
So, yeah, they're idiots, but they can build a spaceship that can go faster than light.
Makes perfect sense.
Folks, this is not a well thought out show.
So then the Madballs perform. Which is an original song, but it sounds like the Twist, but it's changed enough to where it's not the Twist.
Yeah, that was really weird to me, because at first I thought it was the Twist, but it was like if you went into the YouTube free audio music library and looked for a knockoff, it's what it would sound like.
And Computech.com by Kevin MacLeod. Right there.
Kevin MacLeod, man, that guy is responsible for like 80% of the music on YouTube.
Sure. A couple of his tracks even made it into Ray Can't Sleep.
A couple of his, actually, like I would say my first 5 videos probably only have Kevin MacLeod songs in it.
There you go. So, I mean, it's not a terrible song, but anyway, the bad guys close in and they raid the club, a la the SS in World War II. This is a clear callback to that. Commander Wolfbreath says they're all under arrest. The Madballs basically run or bounce away. Because that's one thing we haven't talked about. Sometimes the Madballs have like legs and arms.
I was going to ask you about that.
And sometimes they're just balls.
And they bounce instead, annoyingly.
Yeah. Oh, man. When they're like at the inn, when all of them are just there, that's so weird. It's like unsettling for some reason. We'll get there. So, yeah, they run away down the sewer. This was like the only time they even tried to have any kind of suspense. The Madballs think they're trapped at the end of a sewer. But just out of nowhere, Arg lowers a rope ladder through a manhole and, lets these essentially strangers, I mean, maybe he heard them down there, I don't know. But he lets them come up, but then basically they say, Arg and Slobulus say they're fans and have heard of the Madballs, who are the Madballs. the band. And then Mimi just happens to say, hey, do you guys know how to get off the planet? And they say, sure, we have a ship. And so they go to the ship, basically. Mimi questions the integrity of the ship, as does Freakella. But then the guards show up, so they have no choice but to board the spaceship, and it takes off. And as they are exiting...
Yeah, like Slobulus like hot-wired it, I guess, or something.
Oh, that's later. That's late. Yeah. As they take off, the spaceship wrecks the big wolf breath statue on the way out. Which, do you understand the symbolism there, Yahel? Do you understand it?
Yeah, I guess we gotta take the man down.
Yes.
I don't know.
Yes, brother. Yes. Yes, wrestling with laming. Yes, that's it. You got it. All right, so now we're in space. The Madballs look at a map to try to find a new place to live. I assume they were also looking at the Starfleet technical manual at some point. When then one of them says that, oh, someone needs to fly this thing. And then one of them asks Arg and Slobulus, like, what they were doing, because it looked like they were piloting the ship the whole time. And they say, we were making parachutes.
Hilarious, because see, they knew they were going to crash the whole time.
Yeah. What a choice of humor there. So anyway, they panic, and the ship begins to crash. And then for some reason it doesn't. And then they watch the human black and white version of The Mummy on not the Brendan Fraser one, because that's not out yet. The original, right. I guess, with human actors. And at this point, when they're watching like human TV, where you're like, oh, I see what's going to happen. Now they're going to go to Earth.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was like, well, so I get it now. This is the origin of how the Madballs came to Earth, more or less. So you don't really need to watch any more from here, but there's still more. So here we go. And now while they're watching this, I guess they changed the channel, and there is a punk band like playing on a like American Bandstand style show, and they're ironically called the Cartoons. Isn't that clever, Yahel? The band of humans is called the Cartoons.
Yeah. There's so many clever names here.
It's all about the subtext. So they go, wow, look, check out that sound. We should go to Earth. And so that's exactly what they do. And then cut to backstage at that American Bandstand style show, I guess, or maybe it's another music venue. Like, what do you think?
No, I think you're right. I think it's supposed to at least like harken back to that.
So there is a nerdy human. I didn't catch his name.
I didn't either.
And he's freaking out because the band that he scheduled isn't showing up. They never said if it was the Cartoons or not. There was just no band, and there was a full audience outside. And his friend, who's a girl, I don't know if they're if they're dating or whatever, but she tells him to relax, gives him a cup of tea, and then tells him to think of something fast. And I guess, that almost made me chuckle, almost. And so now we're back on the ship, and for some reason, Wolf Breath comes on the black and white TV, like during the Mummy movie, and he basically threatens the Madballs.
Yeah, he was very aroused.
Yeah, and he tells the
right onto the TV.
He tells the Madballs that their number is up, and I guess the idea, because their ship is like nearby, is he like projecting himself into the TV? Is that what's going on here?
I don't know, man. Like, there's a lot of scenes in this where it's like they just like do the scene just to do it.
See, like, well, I'll sum that up at the end. But so anyway, they fire on the Madballs, the good guys, and they fly into an asteroid field, which barely has any kind of like bearing on the sort of action that happens. They fire a bath at Wolf Breath, which I guess is supposed to be funny, haha. And then Freakella comes out of the bathroom and goes, "Hey, I was gonna take a bath." So that's your level of humor there, ladies and gentlemen, right there. How hard did you laugh at that? I just want to know.
Oh, I didn't laugh, Steve, because I want to save it for maybe when my next parent dies, just something to cheer me up, because that's how funny it was.
Oh, I'm right there with you, man. Yeah, I was waiting for a funeral to break out so I could laugh at it. I was gonna watch a Serbian film and get a good laugh. Wolf Rat and Company. Let's see. Oh yeah, I got ahead of myself here. So basically, the Madballs, they crash land right on the very music venue that didn't have a
Amazing.
band. I mean, this is just mind blowing. It's perfect.
What are the chances? And I'm sorry, did you mention that the other band got lost because they were given the wrong directions to Alaska?
No, I don't think I wrote that down, but thank you for adding that. Yeah, yeah. See, very, very California dreams here. Very California dreams.
I suppose.
And so basically, as they crash. Somehow the force of the crash makes the instruments float up and fall into the Madballs' hands, which they have hands at this point. And immediately they start playing, and of course, everyone in the audience just loves them. They can't get enough. Wolf Rat and Company show up, and they land right there on the stage. Of course, like why wouldn't you? And then there's like while the Madballs are playing, there was a chase backstage with Hornhead and Slobulus. I guess they don't play instruments. Wolf Breath says, and then that just basically ends. You know, there's a bunch of like lame sort of sight gags. It's very Scooby-Doo, but not nearly as funny as Scooby-Doo. So basically, there's, I guess, another sort of down moment where they stop playing their song, and Wolf Rat says, you know, I've had enough, Madballs. It's time to go. And everyone's all quiet, and you think like something bad might actually happen. And he calls Freak Ella a mophead again. So she screams so loud, and the force of her scream blows all the bad guys back onto their ship. And then Slobulus hot wires their ship on the outside, and that makes it take off. And then the bad guys are gone. Any thoughts or comments about any of that?
Yeah, I was very confused as to how many like soldiers the bad guys brought, because at first it seemed like it was just like a few, but then when they're like the bad guys, Wolf Breath has them all at the ship, and he's like, all right, you guys are cornered, you know, you're gonna be arrested now. It seemed like there were like 40 or 50 soldiers all of a sudden.
Yeah, right. It's I guess they're as many as the scene needs them to have,
I guess
suppose. So. And like, I mean, if he's the commander, shouldn't he be like just sort of sitting back and letting all the underlings take care of his work for him? But whatever. Maybe I'm.
You know, he's like a hands-on.
Oh, I respect that. I respect that in a manager.
He's not afraid to get his hands a little dirty, Steve.
Yeah, his hands that are sometimes there and sometimes aren't. So yeah, that is basically the climax of this riveting show. But the nerdy kid asks to be the Madballs manager, and of course they automatically agree, just like in the end of the pilot episode of California Dreams. And then once again, just to have one more joke before the cartoon ends, Slobulus calls Freak Ella a mophead, and then it is basically over.
And he's like, oh, that's the last time I'll give her a compliment.
Wow, that is a great Slobulus you got going on there. If they ever bring back this cartoon, I think you should audition.
I would rather eat broken glass bags.
I would ask at least how much, and then I would go from there.
Oh, yeah.
So, are you ready to render your verdict on Madballs episode 1?
Oh yeah, I wonder what we'll rate this.
I wonder what it will be.
Recommended or underrated? That's the question.
All right, wrestling with boogers, Yahel Velasquez. Do you think that Madballs episode 1, Escape From Orb, should be remembered for all of human history, or tossed into the black void of obscurity, never to be heard from again?
Well, first, Steve, don't think I don't know that this VHS isn't where you got the inspiration for Escape to Earth.
Oh, thank you for bringing up my comic book. Yeah, I I stole a lot of ideas from the Madballs here, 100%.
Donate, folks.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you could just go buy some. There's always a link in the description of where you can go buy issues of Escape to Earth.
Okay, but yeah, as far as this episode, the show, it's terrible, awful. I was just like, God, why do we keep watching so much shit?
Hey, the last couple things we had weren't shitty.
What did we watch? I feel like we watched more bad stuff than...
It was all
or maybe
wrestling.
there's just more stuff I dislike.
I mean, this was our first non-wrestling piece of media since our wrestling month last.
Right, but last week was Sniper, right? Oh, no, the WCW comic book.
Yeah, you didn't like that, but you were the
one
one who...
Too many words.
You were the one who picked Sniper, buddy, so I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, I mean, hey, you're right. That was my pick, but we both thought it had potential.
Yes,
I mean,
yes.
RVD and Steven Seagal in a movie together should have been
should have been gold, baby.
So bad it's good,
yes,
you know.
Absolutely.
But it was not.
No.
But anyways, yeah, I mean, this is pretty bad, even as a kid's cartoon goes. And you know, I don't have a kid, so I don't really know what modern children's shows are like per se. But I mean, the most recent kids thing I watched was Star Trek Prodigy, which is I think geared for 7-year-olds and up, and it's way more sophisticated. So I assume that just kids TV in general is a bit more sophisticated these days. Yeah, this is just bad. The jokes aren't funny. I don't think a kid would find them funny. Do you think a 4 or 5-year-old would find this stuff funny?
No. The jokes aren't enough. Well, first off, go ahead and render your verdict.
Oh yeah, this is a do not remember. And I do have a question for you as well that I want you to answer when you give your verdict. Do you feel like this show even represents the toys well?
No, not really. I mean, they obviously have the designs down, which, I mean, that is the big draw of Madballs. They're fun, gross out, kind of colorful, over the top. I mean, if I was a 7 or 8-year-old and I saw it sitting on a shelf, I would at least go over and check it out. But that's the thing, is that they didn't have any gross out jokes in the slightest. There was no...
I guess they saved them all for the follow-up.
Yeah, gross jokes. Yeah, there you go. I mean, there's so many other cartoons that do this style better. Obviously we had Ren and Stimpy when we were younger. That's way better than this. SpongeBob, I would say, is sort of they weren't wacky enough. If they were self-aware of how ridiculous the premise is and leaned into that, then I feel it could have had potential. If there was more, I don't know, maybe Looney Tunes style action or something, maybe that would tame the 8-year-old sort of attention span. But no, it was just a little, they're always just doing this and saying unfunny things, and they look cool, but they don't really do anything funny or cool or gross. So yeah, I mean, I don't think it's a good representation of the toy line, and that's what I was going to ask you. All right, I'll go ahead and render my verdict. This is definitely a forget for me. It feels like a cash grab. This is just one of those VHSs you buy for, I mean, I guess maybe for your kid just to watch over and over again, just to get their attention for 22 minutes or something. I mean, I would say they were at least smart enough not to try to have a whole season of this crap, because, I mean, what are you going to do? What kind of stories can you get from, the Madballs world? Although there are quite a few comics that you could take from. But okay, so this show sucks. It's a forget. What do you think about the toy line in general? Sort of the idea.
I mean, I guess it's fine. I wasn't really into it as a kid. I had friends that had them, and they didn't really play with them. They're just kind of there. And I think you can kind of squeeze them from what I remember. But yeah, there was nothing you could really do.
I compare Madballs to another sort of popular, I don't even know if you want to call it a toy line, that is not really that popular anymore. Can you guess what it is?
Garbage Pail Kids or something? Or?
I mean, that they're kind of in the similar boat. I was thinking more like Funko Pops. They just look like something, but
yeah, but Funko Pops aren't really meant to be toys, though. I mean, they're just meant to be for displaying, basically. So,
right. I mean, yeah.
I think they're in their own different category.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, just in the way that they're both fads. I mean, even in the Wikipedia entry of Madballs, it says, like, you know, it sold well as a passing fad, basically. And, yeah, all right. So anyway, that is an obliterate from all of us at Obscurity Now. Here we go.
The heathens have spoken. You are obliterated.
All right. Well, I don't know how we got through that one without murdering each other, but we did. I don't know. That's it. Anything else to say about the old Madballs there?
Let's not cover the follow-up.
Oh, you mean blue balls?
No. The gross jokes.
Yeah, I know. I was trying to be funny.
Oh.
I know.
Sorry, Steve.
I'm trying to give you the gross out humor that you want, that the world wants. Yeah.
Sorry, Steve. I get my humor from the Madballs.
Well, you're going to be shit out of luck there, my old friend.
Oh.
Yeah, well, that is going to do it for this episode. Again, if you're local to the California area and are a con goer, Comic-Con Revolution out in Ontario, California. I'll be there hosting my first panel ever about my audio drama Ray Can't Sleep. And also the third issue of Escape to Earth should hopefully be out next month if you backed on that. Do you have anything else you'd like to add about whatever you're up to these days?
No, just working on my next video, which will probably not take too long to get out.
I'm going to go ahead and tell everyone it's a retrospective on the Madballs video game collection from the ZX Spectrum all the way to the Commodore 64.
God. So, what's funny is in one of my early videos, I had never I had heard of a ZX Spectrum before, but I had never heard somebody say the name of it.
Sure.
And in fact, I had never said it out loud. So in my mind, I always read it as ZX Spectrum. Mm-hmm. And in this video, it wasn't about it, but I had to mention it a couple times. Mm-hmm. And I said ZX Spectrum, and man, I got railed in the comments by people from across the pond, as well I should have.
No, man, you're an American. You can talk how you want to.
No. I think it's funny.
It is funny.
Yeah, Zed.
Well,
I knew they pronounced Z's when they're just talking about Z's as Zeds. Right. I don't know why it didn't dawn on me oh yeah, this is probably ZX.
Zed's dead, baby. Zed's dead.
Honestly, Zed sounds a lot cooler than Z.
Yeah. There is a similar sort of argument in the prog rock community. I know everyone wants to hear about this. Settle down. There is a Rush song called YYZ, but since they're Canadian, they say Zed in Canada. So yeah, that's another sort of similar.
Rush, not a fan.
Oh, of course you're not, because they're too good for you.
I don't like Geddy Lee's voice.
All right, I can understand that.
They're good musicians. You'd have to be an idiot. And Geddy Lee's actually a great musician, but the tone of his voice, it
took a while for me to get used to it. And if you listen to 80s Rush, it's not as harsh. But anyway, welcome to Prog Rock Chat here.
Welcome to Rush Now, the podcast that has the same name in it twice, basically.
Yeah.
Rush Now.
Right. Hey, that's not a bad idea. All right. Thank you all for joining us. Make sure you comment, like, and share. Help us fight that YouTube algorithm. And we will see you next Sunday as we continue to unearth more obscure media only on Obscurity Now.
You've been enjoying Obscurity Now, a podcast that's recorded live to tape and streamed to Twitch and YouTube. Subscribe so you never miss an episode or hilarious quip. Take us with you by following the download links provided in the show notes to wherever you get podcasts. And take notice of our various social media links, if that's what you're into. I'm not here to judge. And make sure you join us live next week at 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific as we continue to discuss more obscure media only on Obscurity Now.